Steve, well, it looks like it's unfortunately over for another season. So commiserations on that. I think supporters would be curious really as to why we had such a, to my eyes anyway, a very lacklustre first half.
Ask the players, Jim. I know Matt does interviews with them, but maybe pull a few after me and speak to them about it. I'm not having them feeling sorry for themselves. Do everything, prepare everything right. Had them watched at Enfield, told them what was going to happen. There's just nothing there. 3 or 4 may have just put enough in. Liam Smith for 17 showed a lot of them players up today. And Liam's not getting paid anything, by the way. Some of these other players that are picking up good money, my fault, because I signed them. But they're getting good money, and he showed them up because he wanted it. You know, and he's got his head down there, and I told him to keep his head up because he can't put his head down. He was fantastic. And there was 2 or 3 others out there. Some players are carrying other players, and it affects their game. But let's not pull no punches now. Afterwards, I mentioned my last statement was, who wants to be here? If I said no, who wants to be here next year? Majority put their hand up. Okay, we've got a game next week as well. Nick Wheeler, give it a 50-50. Luke Allen a 50-50. Hugo 50-50. There may have been more. I'm not sure. But,
sorry, you mean 50-50 in terms
whether
of
they want to stay or not.
Right.
So that gives you the answer, doesn't it? That ain't just been made up after today's game, has it? No. And as I said, not saying they go out there and don't give 100%. And that's what happens in football. Players move on. But it's one of those. Their players I've offered deals to as well. Luke Allen and Nick Wheeler, by the way. And it was a double-edged sword. It was, if we go up, I'll sign for you. You know? And I'll say it now. I've kept it behind. If we go up, I'll sign for you. Others that I offered deals to wanted to stay. Because let's get it right. When they come to the club, they weren't in a good position. And we've helped them on. I know when you help players on, they move on to better things. But they know how hard I want to get out of this league, and they know they would have been pivotal to it. But it's not to be. I'll tell you what.
Nicky could have still been a full-back at Lewis.
Possibly. But there you go. Like I say, Mitchell had his hands up, had a terrible game today. And Sonny's looking after him. But it's not about just today's game, Jim. We've had a number of games this season where we haven't been on it, where you can see players pulling out challenges, players ducking out 50-50 headers, and it tipped it all off today with that performance. You know, we had a sulk on Saturday before the game, and basically gave them every ounce of encouragement. Same today, but like I said to them before they went out, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like the change room I had on Saturday, where everyone was pumped up for a reaction. Maybe some thought they'd go out and just do it, you know. And I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes maybe in systems, substitutions, bringing players in. That's what a manager does. I admit it. I look myself in the mirror and know what I've done wrong. And as I said to one of the supporters there afterwards that pulled me and basically said to me, one of them said, start naming names. I've named a few names, but that's not just on today's performance. Everybody in this team at one stage or another hasn't pulled their weight, and that's why we haven't made the playoffs. But I'm sure that fan, I'd like to think that fan knows that I know it's not good enough. I'd like to think he knows that there aren't going to be players here next year. And also I like to think he knows that the players that were out today through injury, you know, would have made a massive difference. You know, otherwise they wouldn't have signed for me again. And that's the difference, and that's what you got to look at. You know, you got to look at who's with you, who's hanging on to see what's better around the corner. And that the fan that basically not a confrontation, but after a game I'm wound up, a bit like this interview. I look back on it and think, should I have said that? But in general, surely the fans know that I know it isn't right. I have to play players because of certain situations, you know. And I've got 5 sitting in there today that would have been in the starting lineup without a shadow of a doubt. So I know where it's gone wrong. I know what's happened, but there's nothing I can do about it.
The injuries haven't helped, but I'm sorry, you know, the effort that was there today, well, the effort wasn't there in certain respects. The first time, this is a team that's going out and fighting for a playoff place. This is a cup final. Yeah.
Yep.
And you know who wanted it more? Folkestone. All the time, the whole 90 minutes.
Jim, totally agree, because they wanted to get out the relegation battle. Now, I can stand on the side and I can pump them up and I can praise them and I can blow smoke up their backsides, but it still don't make them want to run in harder, quicker, faster, challenge, balls in the box. Do I want to get in there and get myself hurt? I can't give them that. But then that comes down to me for signing players. It's my fault for signing that type of player.
And yet you've mentioned two players who on their day gave us a heck of a lot. I mean, Luke Allen and Nick Wheeler, who at times have been absolutely superb, outstanding for this club.
Yep. And like I say, if they want to go and play higher, they can. I've got no problem with it. But, and I'm being honest now, if players would have been fit, I would have had decisions to make, because I want people that are committed to me, not keeping me hanging on a knife edge. Whether we do well, they'll get a reward, stay. If we don't do well, they'll go. And I'm not stupid enough to know that's not football. But like you say, the injuries and stuff, the lack of desire and stuff, I can't install that in people. So I've got to take that on the chin and say that I've got that wrong. I've put the players out on the pitch. You ask any of them before a game, you've got desire, you've got passion, you've got hunger, every one of them say yes. Because some of them want to give you lip service. And like I say, I've made mistakes, and I'm going to bounce back stronger next year, and I'm going to make mistakes next year, but I certainly won't make the same mistakes I've made this year.
And looking to next year, I'm sure, and clearly you're not in a position to reveal anything, but I'm sure there are players out there at other clubs that you've got your eyes on already.
Yes, yeah, we've got one that's agreed to come in already, that got released from his contract on deadline day. We didn't have the budget to bring him in. We couldn't get rid of anyone because it was too late. It was basically on deadline day that he got released. And I've spoke to him a couple of times, and he's going to sign for us next year. I've got George Bevan, I've got Tom Parkinson, I've got Damien Scannell, Alex Akrofi. Spoken to a couple of the others that have given me a yes, but it's just a matter of tying them down. But I wouldn't stand still. My season's over now, if you like. We've got Worthing next week, which I'll have a look at a couple of other players. But the season's over because we can't get in the playoffs. So I'm already starting to build for next year.
And you quite like to get your business done fairly quickly, don't you?
Yes,
Not rush
I do.
it, but
no,
yeah.
I like to get it out of the way. But again, if I have to wait a little bit longer this time, maybe that was my problem last year. If I have to wait a little bit longer this time and get the right personnel in, and it might be different.
Well, thanks very much for your honesty. It's been a disappointing day. We can't hide from that. These things happen, and we can only look to the future.
Yes, Jim, but more than disappointing, mate.
Yeah.
More than disappointing, because you can sugarcoat as much as you want. You hit the nail on the head. No work rate, desire, hunger, and for a team that you're trying to get in the playoffs, that's what you want. That's exactly what you want. Do you know what I mean? And we fell well short of that today. Well short.
Yeah.
Barring, I will say, two or three players. I've got to come out with critics. I kept trying.
Yeah.
But
we did have a go. It was a 10-minute spell, wasn't there, in the second half, where we were starting to get round the back of them, and but it's not enough, is it?
Keeper's not had a save to make.
Yeah.
Keeper's not had a save to make, and it isn't just this game. We've had other games where we've done the same. And like I said to him, I will look at myself. I will admit mistakes, and I will learn from mistakes. Unfortunately, this day and age, players don't.
And
players think it's someone else's.
The hard line is that's why the likes, I think, of Wingate and Enfield are there, and we're not. Because we've had too many days like today, perhaps, or just one too many days like today, and they've done a little bit better than us.
We've lost 14 games this season now, I believe. We lost 9 last year, so that gives you the story. That's another 12 points. Them 12 points, you're in the plus comfortably. Do you know what I mean? So it's not good enough, Jim, this year, all round, and I can't exclude me and the staff in that, because I wouldn't just pin it on players, I'll put it on myself as well, as I've said. So, like I say, supporters have gone away disappointed. I'm very disappointed, and it's going to hurt and take a few weeks to get over, but in that few weeks I'm still going to be working hard to get players in for next year that are going to wear that badge with pride. like we did last year, and it is chalk and cheese. Not because we got in the playoffs last year, you know. How many games if we went 3-0 behind this year, no chance of coming back. Last year, Wingate come back 4-3. Where was it away? Farnborough away. You know, come back to get the win. Hampton away, come back to get the draw at 2 down. Don't think I've got that this year, and that's my fault. That's my fault off the pitch, but on the pitch they got to take responsibility.
Well, thanks again for your honesty, Steve, and at least we can look forward to an interesting summer with all the changes.
Yeah, you will do. You'll have loads of changes.
What's the general feeling in there after it's confirmed we're not going to be going up this season?
Yeah, as you can imagine, everyone's down. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Just everyone's looking at the floors and everyone's down and gutted. But you know, you go on from here. Everyone's just got to get together, end the season on a good note, and then. But yeah, just that's it really. All I can say is everyone's just down.
Do you think the result was deserved today?
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I think. You know, compared to how we played Saturday, we just weren't at the races, and I think that's been the story of our season. You know, we're here some games and not there. You know, but you know, I can't speak for everyone, but it's just everyone is down. I don't know what the reason is to it. We've tried, you know, we've had meetings about it, but it's just it wasn't good enough, and we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. It's exactly that. We don't deserve it. We weren't at the races. And can't say much more than that.
Did you feel after Saturday it was still possible?
Yeah, I mean, I've sat down with Steve and Barry. We've had a chat, and you know, I really felt that we would make that last spot. When you looked at our fixtures, I thought there's no way we wouldn't. Especially after Saturday, you know, you should take the positive game from there and follow on today. But for some reason, just they were first to everything. A lot of second balls they won, and I don't think we created enough chances to even deserve a win today.
A lot of the supporters are sort of feeling it. Do you as the squad want it as much as us supporters?
Yeah,
I mean, you understand how they feel that way?
Yeah, I completely understand. But the results show, you know, that you don't want it. But I can speak for most of the players in there. You know, everyone who plays football, we all want to win. We don't play not to win. You know, it's just for some reason we haven't been good enough this year as we were last year. If that's, you know, the way we play or whatever, but you never know. It's just I'll happily say we haven't been good enough, but I don't know the reason for it. But everyone does want to win. You know, no one goes onto the pitch not wanting to win. We're all sportsmen. That's how you wouldn't play if you didn't want to win.
Did you feel we had that sort of urgency the last 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, but it's a bit late. You know, we look like, you know, suddenly creating a few chances in the last sort of second half again, you know, but it's just a bit late then, you know, they're sitting and we just didn't take chances. I mean, it was a very poor game today, but there were still enough chances to nick a couple goals, and we didn't take them chances. But you know, it's a shame it's happened, but I can't say much more.
Yeah, and presumably, you'll come off seeing the league table is now confirmed with 4 points off playoffs.
Yeah, we have seen it. I mean, we knew today. We
had to win, didn't we?
We had to. You've got to win. You know, Gaffer sat us down with us Saturday and said, you know, as long as we win these 2 games, it will go to the last game of the season, and that's what we wanted. But you know, obviously everyone's just so disappointed. But I don't really know what else to say. It's just disappointment. Just down.
This time of year, there's always speculation about what the squad's going to look like next season. There's all sorts of conversations about your future. What is it?
Well, to be honest, like I said, you know, for me, I love football. I'm dedicated to football. What I do want to push on. I'd love to. I've said to Steve, you know, if we went out, I'd love to stay. I mean, I still might. It's not saying I've had offers anywhere else. You know, if I do, then amazing. If I don't, then, you know, obviously I'm happy with Steve. The way he plays, he likes me as a player. I like Steve as a manager, and we'll see. But you know, I said to Steve when we sat down and spoke about it, I said, look, like the way it is, even if I want to move on, I'm never going to walk onto the pitch and not want to do well, because if any club's looking, you've got to perform. If you go out there and you don't perform, you're not going to get a move. You're not going to play higher, and you know, so. You know, as a player, I've given my best. There's a few in there who've given their best, you know, and if people haven't, then, you know, I can't speak for anyone else. But I do, you know, as I say, as a sportsman, everyone wants to win and do well, and if you want to play high, you've got to play well. So that's how it is. But we'll see. I mean, I haven't had any contact with clubs, but you know, I do like it here. I love the fans, love everything about it. It's a great club, Tonbridge, and it's due to Steve and Barry how I played last year and this year. I wouldn't have been in the situation what I was, because before that I wasn't even, you know, known. So I do thank that from Tonbridge, but we'll see. But I'll keep it, obviously, speak to Steve and that, and definitely see what will happen.
Yeah, and hopefully go out on a high next week.
Yeah, I'll definitely. You know, we owe it to the fans to go out on a high Saturday, and all I can say is sorry from all of us for the last few performances, and you haven't been good enough. And hopefully next year, if I'm still here and some of the players are, we're due to go up. We've got to do it, and hopefully we do it for the fans.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, cheers.